Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics and DC Comics and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel, baby. Let's go. Now, this is our first review for the new Marvel series on Disney Plus, Ms. Marvel. This is an episode 1 review, and of course, it is a spoiler, and I will be spoiling each and every episode that comes out for this series, so you have been warned. So, if you have not seen episode 1, please pause, give me a thumbs up on the YouTube channel so this channel can grow, and then come back and listen to my review. And plus, I would love to hear your guys' comments, opinions of how I'm doing on this, what you guys think about any Marvel show or anything I review. I would love to hear your feedback on all of that. So, let's get into it. With episode 1, it gives us a new origin story of Miss Marvel. And of course, this has tons of Easter eggs / reference of lots of Marvel characters that Marvel fans would just love, and it would show us how Kamala lives a teenage life in, of course, New Jersey. It's a fun action pack with, of course, teenage problems. For example, trying to grow up, trying to figure out who you are, thinking about going to college, and of course, that I've been there, you've been there, or you're currently going through it. So, a lot of things many people of all ages can relate to this already. And of course, this has a view on the culture of where she's from and how she's supposed to live and etc. So it has a lot going on. And another thing I want to point out, this show has a lot of Spider-Man elements. Not like the character Spider-Man, but I feel like that this show may or may not, and I'm not sure and I'm not confirming it is, but to me, it shows evidence that they're using recycled stories that they thought about using in the Spider-Man movies so far, but they haven't. And it has a lot of elements to that because, yes, Kamala is a teenager, but if I'm watching this show, I can see okay, they might have used and had an idea of, at the time where they're developing a pretty much Spider-Man again with the actor Tom Holland, that there's evidence that they might have went this route, how they are going with Kamala. And I'm not talking about the superhero part or, living. I'm talking about as the going to high school, being a teenager. Because, yes, she's not popular. She's ignored. She's not the hanging out with the cool kids. She's very dorky, nerdy, and so much more, right? And I'm looking at it as they had an idea okay, this could have been the way they would have done with Tom Holland, but I think later in production, somebody within the company, within the writing process or whatever, said, hey, let's try this way, let's go this route. This is like a draft. And I'm not, I'm not confirming that these are old recycled ideas of stories from Spider-Man, but from my perspective of just watching episode 1, I can kind of see that, they could have used this type of certain elements in this episode with Peter Parker, aka Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man, of just him going to high school and stuff, and living in New York, but Kamala's in New Jersey, so I can kind of see it, but obviously they didn't go that way. But I really, whether or not, I really like this story so far, and I really like how it is for what it is. So that's why I'm saying I can see it, but it's really cool they're using it again if they are, for Kamala, aka Ms. Marvel, because this is such a good show, and it just has really cool things, and just seeing her gaining her superhero powers is just really awesome. So, Miss Marvel, aka Kamala, her hero is Captain Marvel. So, and you notice in this show that she has her like a YouTube channel like called Sloth Baby Production, and she does theories, just kind of like anybody else like myself who does podcasts on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, right? And she has that, so she's very into it because in this timeline, uh, she's getting her informations from interviews from Ant Man slash Scott Lang, from interviews from podcasts or late night shows or whatever, and I guess from what she's saying, Ant Man is claiming that Ms. Marvel is the true hero of defeating Thanos, um, knocking him out. And obviously, if you're watching the movie, you're like, well, you would say, no, Tony Stark, Iron Man's the hero, or this person's the hero, but she's going off as somebody who is a fan of the Avengers, and she's going from Ant-Man's point of view of what he saw out of it. Now, I think that's very interesting. Like, I'm sure this is going to be a tie-in to the next Ant-Man movie. And why did he explain like that? Why was he making a book or whatever? Why was he saying this in interviews? And it could be a funny joke. It could be a great connection of a tie-in, whatever, but it could be a big part of it. Who knows? Because like in this episode, just to get this out the way now, it's still like an unknown of how this show's gonna go, and it's still unknown of what Marvel films is gonna be connected to this. And besides the next Captain Marvel movie, besides that, we know that's gonna be connected into it. But any other Marvel character movies or shows is going to be connected to, like Moon Knight, Loki, Thor, Spider-Man, She-Hulk. We don't know yet. They don't really reveal that much. They reveal a lot, but not those particular things in episode 1, of course. So it's still unknown with that, and which is fine. It's. I think this is all gonna tie in and connect into the next phase and the current phase they're in right now with the MCU. So it's no big deal. That's not me complaining about it, but I can kind of see there came in a lot of things on there not mentioning things like they're mentioning Spider-Man without mentioning Spider-Man. Just like when Kamala and her mom's going out shopping and he went to a food truck and he mentions the vulture flying around. So they obviously recognize that even though because Spider-Man is a Sony property, they're recognizing that Spider-Man does exist. They know of Spider-Man. They know he's in New York. He's not in Jersey. He's in Manhattan or Harlem's Queens, I believe, or Brooklyn. I forget. But I'll remember. Tell me in the comments where he's from. And that, so they recognize that, but like I said, they didn't say Spider-Man. They mentioned one of his villains, previous Spider-Man movie. So that's how they're doing that. She, like I said, she keeps up with the Avengers. She has that really teeny bopper thing, and then obviously there's a love triangle, and I wonder who it was. We know Bruno's one, so, and I'm pretty sure there's another one from the trailers. There's another guy that she's attracted of, so I wonder if that's gonna play out, which they probably will. And what I think about all that is just, I think she's the one, so she's the next generation after that. So she's like a fan of this, and she's going to become a superhero. And she's going to do it in her way. This is her origin story. And what I like about this is the fact that the world recognizes, like, Thanos was the big bad man. He's the boogeyman. He's the one that almost destroyed half the universe. She's somebody who is just getting their information from, like I said, the internet, or interviews, rumors, just like we do with the Marvel movies. But she's living it in this cinematic universe. So I think that's just really cool about that. I think this is how like the Young Avengers get their setup. I think this is how the Young Avengers get their debut, just like the original OG Avengers, and you can tell that they're very celebrated because as we go on, we go to the Avengers Con, which is in New Jersey. This is a place where people are obviously like like myself and a lot of people around this world who cosplay their favorite characters, whether it's a Marvel, and this is Marvels or anime or maybe a DC character, DC comic character, just like we do in this. But in this universe, they cosplay their favorite Avengers character, and a lot of it is Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Captain Marvel, Black Widow. You see Wakanda, you see Black Panther, and I noticed some cool things within that. Is like they had Asgard Pride. Now, yeah, I have not seen the Thor: Love and Thunder movie, so I don't know what's gonna go on within that movie yet. But with like the T-shirt that says Asgard Pride, it seems like the Asgardians are living. It seems like that they're going to maybe those people who are selling the shirts are from Asgard at the in their new home where they're left off in Avengers Endgame, right? And maybe they're going over there, set up a venue at the Avengers Con and selling shirts and merchandise because of the history of Thor, right? And or maybe there's something very big and political that maybe there's a chance, a possibility of people on Earth who's not very accepting to the Asgardians who are now living on Earth now because of their current home is gone, right? And so there's a little hint of a clue that there's something going on there. And will that be answered in the new Thor: Love and Thunder? I don't know, but just be on the lookout for that review, for the non-spoiler, and of course the spoiler where we'll talk more about it. So that's something I will pause on that topic on that part. Uh, let's see. Like I said, Kamala is a huge fan of Miss Marvel, and now we'll go into her parents. Now, her parents are very traditional of from where she's from. They have very strict rules, and they do not approve this Miss Marvel costume just because of like of where Miss Marvel comes from. They don't wear her as her mom says skimpy outfits, and that's just a real thing in that culture. And for her to be a teenager trying to live American teenage life, but still follow her culture's rules and tradition is very stressful for her. And there you can see that she's kind of having a difficult time living both two different lives. She wants to live the life she wants to live like a normal teenage life, be able to go to these things and just have fun. But she's also trying to live her traditional life, just like how her parents wanted her to be. So there's a lot of conflict between it, and I think in the next episodes after this, we'll learn more about it and get a better understanding, and we'll probably see her grow and find that perfect balance of a way, So I think that's very cool. I think that's very, very educational. I think it's very important for people like me who's not very familiar with her culture, but she can kind of learn from it from watching this episode and see how much it's important for how her parents want her to be because that's how they were raised. And I think that Ms. Marvel is going to discover like who she's gonna represent and how she's gonna represent it because like I said, this is a show, so they're gonna definitely go through her origin story and they're already on it. We'll talk about her grandma Nani slash the bracelet, aka the jewelry. So this isn't something like her nanny sent to her, but her mom, Ms. Marvel's mom, she's very has a grudge, has issues with her mother, which is Kamala's nanny, and this bracelet thing really rubbed her the wrong way, and she puts it up, but obviously Kamala takes it anyway and puts it on, and you discover that this gives her the ability of her superpowers, which you notice when the Avenger Con goes on. She gets everybody's taking pictures in. There's a lot of flashing lights, and that's why they played that weekend song in the beginning of the episode, "Blinded by the Light." When you see it, she saves Zoe, who's somebody who kind of picks on her, kind of like looks down, but she was gonna fall because she got hit by a giant hammer that looks like Thor's hammer, and she's falling, and then she reaches out, and this giant purple crystal comes out and turns into hand. Now, okay, comic book lovers, hardcore Marvel fans, let's talk about it. Yes, I know in comic books, her arm just stretches out like Mr. Fantastic. So the reason why I think they did this is because it would confuse people. It would confuse the casual movie fans, the casual Marvel series who just watched this. And because people would think, well, so did Mr. Fantastic get the same powers as Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel and Miss American Chavez? No, totally different. And they had to find a way to do it. And I think this is a way. I don't think it's a big deal because like I said, she still made the giant hand. No, she didn't do it like Mr. Fantastic, but it still makes the point. I think it's still going to portray her superpower abilities like she does in the comic book. So I don't think it's such a big deal, and I think we can all be okay with it. So Marvel fans who are very hardcore and stick by the comics, take a deep breath, calm down. It's okay. Like they needed to because when you watch the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, spoilers if you have not seen this, but you see Mr. Fantastic, you see him, he does his abilities. So it was very important to have those separated, and I think that's okay. So I'm okay with that. Let's just talk. I'm gonna talk about some other things that I saw. I like how one things. Here's one thing I did like about this show too, and that really helped me like to show you more is the texting that would show up. So when she's texting or somebody's texting her back, you see the text messages, but it's like with on a wall, maybe on a poster. It's very animated, and I really like how this show is very animated when Kamala is explaining like her plan to sneak out to go to Avenger Con. It's like we're gonna do it like this, we're gonna do it like that, and they have a scene. They have like the color, very animation. Kind of reminds me of the Disney movie Turning Red. That's what I kind of get the idea from, and I thought that was really cool to imply that in a Marvel live action TV show. So I think that's really cool. Um, let's see. Like I said. Oh, so another thing I forgot to bring up was back in the Adventure Con they played one of Captain America's theme song that you would hear in Captain America: The First Avenger. That's the song he was kind of singing to. Well, not singing, but talking in a Broadway feel, and they would use that. So that song still lives on in this day and age because of it. Because obviously they're celebrating the Avengers when they do Avengers Con. So this is really cool, and I thought that was awesome. The ending well, not the ending, but the post credit. So there is they showed one of the agent, which is his name is Clearly. I think that's how it is. But he's the same agent from Spider-Man: No Way Home. So what I think it is, I think he's the guy who's gonna be the babysitter slash leader, the one who's gonna I would say who would line up the young Avengers. He's gonna be the one that's gonna assemble the Young Avengers. You know, Nick Fury assembled the OG Avengers, and now this guy, he's going to be the one to assemble the Young Avengers. I could be wrong, but if I had to, I think he'd be the one to do it for the Disney Plus series if they weren't trying to actually get Samuel Jackson to play Nick Fury in any Disney Plus series. But we know they have a Secret Wars, so I could be wrong. But I think he'd be the one that's going to be assigned to the Young Avengers in some way, shape, or form. That's what I think out of it. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think that agent has a big role in the future of the Marvel film shows or not? Let me know in the comments. But what I think about this show as a whole, I'm definitely giving this show an 8. Episode 1, I'm giving episode 1 an 8. They didn't tell a lot, they didn't give us a lot, but it left enough rooms to get you guessing and going. But overall, it was a great show. It was funny. It was very entertaining, very educational in a way about where she comes from and where she stands in life and how she sees today's society. And I think that's really awesome. I think Ms. Marvel character can be a big inspiration to kids today, especially a little girl. So I'm all about this. So I really like this show so far. So yeah, I'm giving it an 8, just because I want to leave enough. Because I bet episode 2 is going to give us more and be just booming, bam. They'll probably be at a 9, right? Who knows? So thank you for listening to my review. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel.